NewGenGamers.com.
Definitely challenging. To get it to 100% completion is very, very difficult.
They're very challenging to get all the masks. Now, something that I don't know if we covered or not, but I think should be is after this game came out, there was a huge defection of games that went over to GameCube, and
Not so much defection, but Nintendo knew they weren't going to win the console war with this system, and it was basically dead in the water.
And they just changed their focus to their new system coming out, and games that had been in the works for actually quite a few years, like Eternal Darkness, Resident Evil Zero, and Dinosaur Planet, which became Star Fox Adventures, all turned into great GameCube games just because they got the extra development time and the extra power of the next-gen system to work on.
You can see with certain masks in this game you would get advantages, like here with the Zora mask you can swim a lot faster. But yeah, those games were originally scheduled for the N64, were pushed back, and would become some of the stellar GameCube games, some of them.
And there were actually some games that were being designed for the N64 that got completely changed when they came out on GameCube. Metroid Prime is actually a really good example of that. The original version of Metroid for the N64 looked more like a 3D platformer like Mario 64. They had screenshots in Nintendo Power showing off what it was going to look like, but they decided to scrap that design and go the first-person route, and we all see where that got them. It turned into one of the most fantastic series made last generation.
Yeah, so
there was a lot of things that they wanted to do with this system that they just knew with where they were in the market they couldn't do.
Yeah.
I think because they pushed the games from the 64 to the GameCube, though that the GameCube was anywhere near as popular, and more so than the 64 was.
No, unfortunately the GameCube carried the stigma with it, because the GameCube actually sold less consoles than the 64 did.
Yeah, and that would cause eventually Nintendo to fully need to restructure, which we'll get into when we get into that. This was kind of a middle phase. Nobody knew what happened. You know, they were on top of the world with the Super Nintendo. Everyone loved them. Everyone loved their games. And boom, it fell apart due to some unwise choices with their hardware, poor treatment of other companies, and trying to dominate the industry, and
That
Sony.
sounds familiar.
It literally, Sony came out of nowhere. No one expected Sony to do what they did, and they took a lot of what they learned from Nintendo, but they did it effectively.
Yeah, Sony just kind of dropped the bomb on everybody, and no one expected them to come out the way they did, but we'll get more into that when we cover the PlayStation. But, see, Nintendo, they took from this everything that they could learn, and it kind of gave them some confidence. They knew they could support a system on their own if they had to.
Yeah, and the other interesting thing with Nintendo is they were adamant about their games being on the system because they make a lot of money that way. And despite the fact that this was not the most popular system, and the fact that it was not the best selling, the company remained profitable and did so, and never had a financial quarter that they were down until the GameCube's later life cycle. And that's, I think, when the company realized that they really needed to do something new. But you know, even with the slight success of the N64, they were still a profitable company, and that's great business sense and a great way to keep yourself in the game. They restructured, and now, you know, it took them a couple years, but what they're doing with the Wii is harkening back to their glory days.
Back to the NES days. It seems they found their mojo again, if one would say. I guess they've taken everything they've learned and poured it into the new into the Wii and seeing, if they can pull it off this way, just turning everything in a different direction. And so far, as of this taping, it's working out for them.
Yeah, they're completely conquering the market with the Wii and the DS are both sensational systems. It's insane.
Well, the fact that you still can't find a Wii and it's been out for close to a year and a half now.
Well, we'll get into this when we get into the Wii. That console war hasn't been told yet.
Yeah, we're just, as of this taping, that's just what's happening in the world.
That's what's happening. It's a whole different thing than we saw going on with this system.
Yeah.
So
this system had a lot of problems out of the gate.
It never caught on.
Mario 64 carried it for about 2 years.
Yeah, literally. I mean, when it launched, it had Pilot Wings and Mario 64 for the United States. I believe they had a Mahjong title or something.
They had Wayne Gretzky Hockey. There was 4 games for it.
Well, there was 2 on launch day.
Launch, and about 6 months later, there were 4.
Yeah, and Star Wars Shadow of the Empire, I think, was the first next big one that they had. So it just never caught on. So we're going to lay this thing to rest again. I am going to actually get another title in that I might throw in with this. So I don't know why I'm mentioning that in the commentary. So
okay.
So this has been the N64 that we've heard so much about.
So check it out, and remember, if you don't remember your history, you're doomed to repeat it.
Engine?
Check.
Fuel?
Check.
Tires?
Check.
Helmet? Helmet?
Check.
Okay, aerodynamic he's not, but he sure can make some tracks. Mickey Speedway USA. 16 magical tracks, 4-player action. Mickey, Donald, and the whole Disney crew.
Guilty?
Check.
Rated E for everyone.
Pikachu! Let's play! Pikachu! Dance!
I can't take it anymore.
Reel it in!
He talks to Pikachu, Pikachu listens.
Pikachu, come here!
I thought I was man's best friend.
Great job! Pikachu!
Meanwhile, I'm getting fat. I walk myself. Where's the love?
Hey You Pikachu, rated E for everyone. Good for you, bad for pets.
Looking for love here.
Only on N64.
NewGenGamers.com